Hey guys, Craig McCormick here from DestructivePixels.com, and let's have one for the road. For those interested, I'm having the Brewdog Liberty and Black Ale. It's a very, very good IPA stout mix. So, for today's topic, I kind of want to talk about something that I have mentioned before in passing on a lot of older vlogs, actually, and it's the idea of why I don't shoot portrait a lot. And for those wondering, that's, I prefer to shoot in landscape mode where the camera is horizontal as opposed to in portrait mode. And you may have noticed in vlogs where I do actually shoot portrait, I actually make a point of pointing out that it is in portrait mode. And there's a very simple reason for that. It's not that I have anything against shooting vertically or anything like that. It's actually the complete opposite. I think it serves a lot of purposes, especially when you're shooting things like waterfalls, when they're really big and you can't capture everything in the frame. But the reason I really try to shoot in horizontal mode is for a very simple reason, and it's that the main place that we are sharing images nowadays for 99% of the time is on the web. And unless you're a web developer who has a monitor that is in portrait mode for code, everybody's monitor is horizontal. And this will be one of the few times when I actually do some post-production work on these videos. And I actually want to do a quick little picture up here on screen. I'll throw it up here. The first one is I'll show up a landscape image, and you'll see that it fills up an awful lot of the frame here of this screen of this video, and that's because most monitors are 16 by 9 or 16 by 10 even, and what that allows is it allows your image to cover a much wider area of the screen. Now, if you do a portrait image, you'll see that it crashes and then only fills up a very small portion of the screen, and that's because when you're sharing images on the web, for the most part, it doesn't look that great. Portrait images look very small on galleries and things like that, especially for things like full screen galleries and things like that. Landscape images just have a much better impact because they're so big compared to a portrait image, which you either have to have big black bars on the left sides, or you completely crop in and you blow up the portrait picture, and that completely defeats the purpose. So that is really why I prefer to shoot in landscape mode. It's simply because where all of our main place for displaying and promoting and showing our images is on the web. And almost all web devices are in portrait mode, minus phones. But even then, people don't really look at images on their phones all that much. And if they do, all they have to do is just turn it sideways. It's, if you're scrolling through images here and you go, oh, that's a nice picture, all you'll do is just turn it sideways. It's very hard to do with a monitor. So you won't do that for obvious reasons unless you are a crazy person. So that is one of the main reasons why I like shooting in landscape mode. And that is really it. It's really that simple. I've mentioned it a couple of times and people do ask me sometimes as well, why are you so against shooting in portrait mode? And it's really as simple as it's just much easier to share your images. Now, this is a little bit harder for me to say, and that's because one of my most popular images is, ironically enough, a portrait image. And it was the first portrait orientated image I ever shot as a landscape. I'm pretty confident in saying that was the first shot I ever, well, it's probably not the first landscape shot I did in portrait mode, but it's certainly the first shot that I did aiming for it to be in my portfolio, which is another topic I'll probably cover some other day. And it's, going out just to shoot. There's the difference between taking a shot and making a shot. And the last few years, every time I go out, I'm going out there on a mission to make a shot, to make a piece of art, although I hate using that term. But that's slightly ironic for me that one of my most well-known images is a portrait image. But I still stand by the fact that landscape images are much easier to share on the web. You don't have the whole compression thing. You don't have black bars on the side, especially on websites. It never ever looks that great, especially in thumbnail galleries where you're limited to the height of the images. And what you have is you end up with a nice rectangle, and then a really tall, weird square thing, and then another nice big rectangle, and it just never looks right. in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but that is really my opinion on it. So I just wanted to share this thought because I've kind of thought about this for a little while, and it's kind of, how do I put it? People don't think about how they present their work sometimes. And I say that in the nicest way possible because they just want to make a cool image, and I get that, and that's totally cool. I 100% get that. I'm behind that. But if you're concentrating your efforts on promoting yourself and promoting your work, you will have much better impact shooting in landscape mode simply because of the orientation of the screens that people are looking at your work on. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion, and I'm sure there will be people in the comments or watching this video that will disagree, but I'm okay with that. But this has been a topic that I wanted to cover for a long time. I didn't really have a means to do it, and that's why this video series basically exists, for me to have an idea and to talk about it that doesn't really justify a blog post. Although saying that, it actually covers the idea of images not being represented well in blog posts, so that's funny. But yep, with that being said, I'm gonna close this off. Hopefully this has kind of got your ideas thinking about, if you are shooting in portrait mode, maybe you do shoot in landscape mode occasionally, especially if you are shooting landscapes. If you are shooting people as, portraits, you are shooting portraits of people, that's a little bit harder to do because oftentimes you end up with, if I was to do it here, you'd end up with a big blank space here on your image. That's completely pointless. So, with that being said, right, so I'm going to sign off here. Hopefully this has got you thinking. As I said, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear what you think about it all. So, until next time, guys, catch you in the next one.